I think these upcoming European elections, traditionally, we as a country haven't bothered with them and haven't participated in them. But next month, they may well witness a resurgence of interest. Suddenly, everyone's interested in the European Union. And last Saturday, I spoke about the silver lining in all of this stuff. One of the things I see as a Remainer, as a silver lining to all of this stuff, is that suddenly we're now all of a sudden highly interested in the inner workings and machinations of Brussels and the European Union and in participating in the EU elections. I bet you one thing if I were a betting man, and I'm not. But I did bet that Donald Trump would win the elections, and he did. And I say to you this, these upcoming EU elections, if we participate in them, will witness a surge in participation and in interest, and the campaign will be quite invigorating. And so that's good for democracy, is it not? I also think it's actually good for our membership of the European Union, even if we don't leave in the end or do leave. And so the question remains, who would you vote for? Now, I know, because I've always been a Remainer, I've always been Liberal, and, you know, for a very, very long time, as long as I can remember, I think going over a decade, I've been critical of the direction that the establishment left has been headed. And finally, that message seems to be sinking in. And lots and lots of people, not least Caitlin Moran over the weekend, declared her own departure from the Labour Party and disillusionment with Jeremy Corbyn's Labour Party. So finally, people who I would describe small L liberals are becoming disillusioned with the establishment left. But at the same time, we don't feel any form of sanctuary inside Theresa May's Conservative Party. So there's a whole bunch of people that want Remain. Who would you vote for in the European elections that are coming up in 1 month, if and assuming if we participate in them, which I'm suggesting for you is the likely scenario? Likewise, if you're a Brexiter, would you choose between Nigel Farage's Brexit Party or Gerard Batten's UKIP Party? You just heard Gerard Batten here in the LBC studios. I think, frankly, he makes Nigel Farage sound wonderfully gentlemanly, chivalrous and polite, based upon the difference in rhetoric. I mean, Nigel left UKIP because he warned that UKIP should not become obsessed with the Islam debate. And I would suggest to you that Nigel was correct. I agree with Nick. I agree with Nigel in that regard, and you all heard for yourselves how Gerard Batten takes some of these, the stances he takes on some of these topics. And so if you're a Brexit supporter, would you go the Dominic Raab kind of hard Brexit route in the Conservative Party, or would you abandon the Conservative Party and instead vote for the Brexit Party under Nigel Farage, or are you a hardcore UKIP supporter? I think, though participation in these elections will increase to a historic high, a thing we've never seen before in the European elections, because we've never really cared about them in the past, up until the referendum itself. I think, though participation will shoot up, I think, though, at the same time, the vote distribution will be a very interesting thing to watch, because it will span out. We'll end up with a horizontal pattern. Loads of different smaller parties will end up gaining votes. You'll end up with disillusioned Labour Party members who are pro-Brexit voting UKIP. You'll end up with disillusioned Labour Party members who are pro-Remain, abandoning Labour, voting for a more Remain option. You'll end up with disillusioned Conservatives who are more hard Brexit, perhaps voting for UKIP or the Brexit Party. Some of them voting for a Remain faction. Whether this new faction, the independent group, Change UK, or whatever they're calling themselves, this breakaway faction, whether they participate, some people will vote for them. How will they come to an arrangement with the Liberal Democrats? It's all going to be very interesting to see what happens. And also, keeping into the spirit of the indicative votes that Parliament is currently casting, this European election, though not advisory, clearly it will return a whole bunch of MEPs to the European Parliament. It will also be a kind of indicative vote as to the mood of the nation around this subject. And you can end up you can start analysing the results and see how the nation has changed. And perhaps, if there were to be a second referendum, these results in the European election in 1 month's time, they could indicate where we would go in that regard too. Or, to completely think outside of the box, maybe we should chuck in a second referendum at the same time as these European elections, so we save money and have all the elections on one day. So that could be a plan as well. Either way, we've only got a month to sort it all out. Blimey, guys, we're running out of time.